Deputy Superintendent of Police Alexander Obeng is our guest right now. We did talk about it. We want to get a bit of education. He's a man in charge of education, research and training at the police MTTD. So appropriate guest for this conversation. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too.
Good morning, everyone.
I see you holding papers.
Yes.
With so many numbers.
Oh, not numbers necessarily, but it's about between January and February this year. How many road offenders that have been accosted and sent to court, convicted, and some jailed, and the rest, certain punitive road fines have been placed on them and they have paid.
Nice.
And that's about 259,194 Ghana into state coffers. And
that's last year.
Just this year.
2018.
But if we are looking, we are hearing that crashes are surging. And people are calling on state agencies, including police, to do something. The something includes looking out on our mandate to arrest offending drivers who were speeding, who were drunk and driving, had loaded their vehicles above the limits, and were using bad ties on their vehicle and were unlicensed, and some were on WhatsApping, Facebooking devices.
Whilst driving?
And, yes, and with the device in one of or both of their hands, and motorcycle rider were not wearing crash helmet, and people were using unroadworthy vehicles and unlawfully overtaking, have left their vehicles in obscure, dangerous positions, among others. So for us, we intensified, compared with the same period last year, we have seen about 100% increase in terms of arrest and conviction.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that in the month of February, crashes have begun to dip. So those who are saying, oh, crashes are increasing, the facts are this, that between 1st February to 28th, crashes that were registered were 1,040. Compared with the same period last year, it was 1,049. In the process,
1,040 what?
1,049. So
49 last year.
Yes.
And
so
then 1,040.
It has decreased marginally. And
okay. But compare the February-January figure.
Yes, it's almost about the same.
Okay.
And I'm saying that the month of February saw, if you look at the isolated incident, you would think that the crashes were disturbing and were over and above the same period last year. No. It has slowed down a bit because of the intensified activities of police and the media and all and sundry about the worrying incidents of crashes, and associated deaths have also decreased, and injuries have also decreased compared with the same period last year. So let's sustain it, that there is a little bit of calm on the road. So it cannot be.
Well, would you say there was one recorded just
over the weekend?
Yeah, over the weekend, the one in the central region. Can we say that the impact is a bit more? I'm not sure, because it always turns out very gory. You have recorded deaths instantly.
It is unfortunate. There are some of the incidents, isolated ones, that records 5, 4, sometimes.
In this case, it was six deaths.
Yes, and it catches the eyes of the public, because it shouldn't have happened. Most of these happen because of human behavior and things that we are going to talk about now, and so sometimes a bit worrying. And we will continue to particularly focus on high occupancy vehicle owners and drivers, particularly those that are being used to support the state in terms of commercial use, to, as it were, refrain from excessive speeding and unlawful overtaking, among others, and leaving of such vehicles in dangerous conditions and positions. And I think it's a bit worrying, but let us all be admonished of what we keep on talking about every day in the media, at lorry parks, and everywhere, that crashes that are happening are preventable. They are mostly caused by particularly the motorists themselves, the vehicle owners or occupants or pedestrians themselves, and not necessarily the vehicle or the road.
Okay. Let's set the tone for the next conversation. We're asking, what circumstances can a policeman typically stop me, whether I'm driving a DV or not? And how should the exchanges go in terms of what kind of questions? Somebody sent us a WhatsApp message that said that sometimes when the police people stop you, it's like they want to ask you very irritating questions for you to be frustrated. When you talk, they say, boy. If you don't talk to, they say you're disrespectful. So what can you do and what can you not do? But first of all, there's a SHATTA WALE video that's making the rounds. Have you seen it?
I saw it over the weekend.
Okay. For the sake of those of our viewers who perhaps haven't seen it, we want to play it back to you. And then we'll follow up with a general educational conversation that we want to have. Because we're told that the officer that you would see in the video is under some sort of investigation. Let's all watch.
Why you like that? I don't know me. Don't know me. Oh, why you doing that? Come and take a car. Take a car. Take a car. Go. Go back and take a car. What do you do? Oh, give him a car. Give him. Make it take a good. Give him a car. Make it take a good. Good. Give him. What is that? No, sitting down. Why, what do you do?
Okay, so this is it, and DSP Alexander Obeng is here. First of all, what do you make of this whole encounter?
I think, for me, I don't have the nitty-gritties of but what I've seen. I'm discussing it because I've seen road users who are at a public duty point, their duty point, because it's a public road. And I've seen a vehicle which has not got any identification mark on the road. And
in terms of it is not registered?
First, it hasn't got any identification mark, otherwise called a vehicle registration number, whether it is a trade license plate or any of the commercial or private number plates. It hasn't got it. And under regulation, section 38 of our Road Traffic Act 683 says that nobody can own or drive a vehicle on any public road if the vehicle is not registered or has no identification mark. And that is the first thing. The driver should have known this one because he's a motorist. If he is, well, I've not seen his license, so I cannot say he's a driver. And so I'm not surprised that we have put up that behavior. Two, leaving vehicle on our roads unattended to is also dangerous.
So you're talking about the way the range was parked
left
in the middle of the road.
Because Ghana, we drive on the right, and you go and leave your vehicle on the public road on the right, and others are veering onto the left lane to share the oncoming vehicle lane. That is obstruction. And that is also another dangerous behavior. I'm expecting vehicle motorists not to put it up again. Two, the law says that if you have a vehicle on a road, you don't leave it unattended with the gate door open. You don't leave it unattended. Because I've seen instances where even mad persons have jumped on vehicles that were unattended on the road. And they sped and they crashed the vehicle. So these are among the other things that I can see. As for regard to the exchange, it's not audible. So I didn't know what they were talking about. However, at public places, when a police officer is on duty, and maybe you are a passerby, and there is an ongoing discourse or whatever that is going on. You don't just go and be taunting. That may amount to interfering with the police officer's duty. And so let us watch some of these things, particularly vehicle license holders, that we have certain responsibilities. You must have absolute, complete control of the vehicle at all time when it's on the public way, particularly on the right lane. You don't leave the steering wheel unless you are commanded to do so. And you don't leave the vehicle in a public to obstruct other roads. It's very dangerous. And a vehicle that has no identification mark, you are not supposed to own it if you use it. This, let vehicle owners and license holders note it. These are all in the Road Traffic Act and the regulation.
But I think the general question then would also be, at what point or within what circumstances can your vehicle or a vehicle that is being driven by a driver be stopped beyond just not having an identification mark?
Okay, the other one has to do with that. The police officers are deployed on the road to ensure that the people use the road in decorum, both the vehicle and the driver, and all these owners, particularly the driver, and then who owns a license, and the vehicle owner who owns the vehicle, have a responsibility towards the state for public health and safety, and then taxation. Therefore, when you are on the road, police can stop you first to find out whether
even if you haven't done anything.
Whether you are
is it police, MTTD, or police patrol,
the
or any man
it
who
depends.
can be identified as a police officer?
Particularly if you don't have a number plate on the vehicle, you don't expect only MTTD because it's dangerous. Who is driving the car? Whose car? If that vehicle is adopted as a vehicle to commit crime, are we sure we will know who owns it and was driving and hit and run or stole and run? So it has everything to do with security.
Should the police officer show me some form of identification?
But I was coming up to what should it happen before a police will stop? That was the question that was asked.
Yes.
And that when the police stops you, you want to find out whether you are a motorist. A motorist is the one who is licensed and holds a particular license that allows him or her to drive a vehicle on a public road for our public health and safety. So, because on my sheet, for example, between January and February, our licensed drivers were 138. So we want to find out too, we want to find out whether the license you are holding is valid and appropriate and genuine, and whether the license you have allows you to drive that particular car. Those are again, we want to find out your behavior, your attitude. Are you drunk?
When you're approached?
Yeah, we want to. No, sometimes that's you. We want to interact with you. Are you drunk? Because look on my sheet.
Oh, so you can ask me that. Are you drunk?
Yes. Speak to us. If you are smelling of alcohol, under sections.
So you want to engage us because you want to monitor.
It's mirrored.
So that's why sometimes we get very.
And you don't have to.
Questions that we're not expecting.
But then that motorist training at the driving school by the instructor was questionable, because we are trained also in our affective domain to be very tolerant, patient.
You mean you, the police officer?
You, the driver, the motorist at the driving school, when you were being instructed by the certified driving instructor, you were taught to be very, first of all, tenacious, patient, tolerant.
At all times.
At all times.
So you're saying that in that instance, if there's any form of misbehavior that is, or behavior that is out of the norm, then you have to question how that driver was trained.
No. There's a straight questioning, but we want to find, for example, when he stop you, we engage you. And then, because one thing, we want to find out certain behavior. And I've said that you should not smell of alcohol. Your breath, there shouldn't be any alcohol in your breath. Because if there is, we would then subject you to a test, whether breathalyzing or take you within 2 hours to a medical facility to examine your urine or your blood or something.
Really?
You see, these are things because...
So, but do you keep the license or it's just for inspection?
I'll come there. In addition, there are other myriad of offenses that the driver might have. Because if you find out the vehicle is on roadworthy, he has no roadworthy certificate, no insurance, among others.
No trade.
There are myriad of offenses that police are supposed to stop a driver and ask certain questions about the use of the vehicle and the competence of the vehicle and all that. Again, when this is done, we also want to find out whether you are holding even the original driver's license to drive. Because only passengers don't drive vehicles. I hope you know that. Only trained and licensed motorists. And therefore, when you produce it and you have committed any of these offenses among others, the law says that your license can be retained by an inspector and above for the offenses you have cited with, for further investigation, and for you to come to appropriate police station or a court to be forthcoming, and that the police officer will in return give you a police notice. A police notice is a form that is issued with the police insignia on it and the one who has arrested you, and what is it that he has retained from you, and what is it that you are expected to do. These are basic routines that all license holders are supposed to know, because these are procedures in the road law that were used to train drivers, and they are supposed to know. You don't go behind your steering wheel and get on your high horse and tell us that you are forgetful of these basic things, because these are the basic things that also guide your behavior, your skills,
Roland,
and your attitude.
I don't know if you've seen it before,
in safety.
but there's a very familiar line of
question.
DHE. You know, like drive behind me. Why is the policeman taking me to? Why should I get?
Cannot rudely, let's say, and that is rude, I've said it, rudely say, follow me. Then under section 27 of the Act, it says that a driver who has committed an offense, or he has not, should comply with police direction. It's very important.
So that is a police direction.
The police direction is that you might have committed an offense.
I've been asked
with
to go to the airport police station before. So
you might have committed, police suspected that you have committed an offense, and that it says that let us go. Listen, you have been given a direction, because he might have pointed out the offense to you, the suspected offense, and that is also consistent.
So talking on the phone whilst driving,
for example,
yes,
and that is consistent with the Article 12 of our 1992 Republican Constitution.
But why should I follow you to the airport police? Shouldn't you give me a ticket there and say, you know, report at the court or something of that?
Wait, that you tell you the offense you have committed, and then direct as such. The direction might be what you are saying. Give me a notice if it exists.
Or you follow me.
Otherwise, we are taking you to a specified public place.
Do I have an option?
The option is comply with the direction, because it depends on what has happened. For example, there are instances that even the vehicle will be recovered from you, seized, if you are drunk, for example, if you are unlicensed. You don't expect police to allow a drunk driver, a suspected unlicensed person, to continue driving. That vehicle will be impounded and taken to a police. However, if it has to do with these minor offenses, then please, let's proceed to a police station. You have no option but to proceed.
Well, Mama, I was telling you that no matter what, no matter what,
it's consistent with the law. Anyway,
Mama, I was telling you, no matter what, the police would have somewhere within the law.
It's not somewhere. Okay. The laws are clear.
All right,
and these are procedures.
So you're educating us on what the laws clearly say.
Sometimes we get on a high horse and you think maybe the V8 you are driving, how can a police officer even direct me so? He can direct you because at the time you are not a V8, you are a license holder. You see, it's not a profession on the road that we see you. We don't see you, the politician. We don't see the journalist. We don't see the engineer. We don't see the farmer or the so-called celebrity. We see a license holder.
All right. So
motorists.
Okay. So
I hope you are getting what
I get you. I get you.
Manifestation of positive behaviors that enhance.
Except that sometimes we don't feel that the treatment is equal. You know.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't feel the treatment is the same across board, like the way you're saying it now.
Yeah. Let us also get this one. Arrest is not a palatable thing. It is a denial of sort of right, and therefore people everywhere in the world try to resist it. But let us also know that our judicial system, our criminal justice system is also designed in such a way that it will instill deterrence. That's why, for example, when you commit crime and you are sent to police station, why is it that you are supposed to remove and leave only necessary apparel on you? Why is it that we can keep you in a Ghana constitution that can keep you in public cell for 48 hours? Why? Because in other words, the system is that you are supposed not to be our client. We don't need you as a customer. Be compliant of the rule law. Okay. Don't create problem for police. Otherwise, the system is meant to deter. The system of criminal justice is meant to deter. So there will be systems that will be there to curtail your basic rights.
So you're not there to pamper us.
No, the system shouldn't.
Otherwise, one of those two and ask the last one.
But you know, these are the same old thing that leads to crashes. You see, when the person has costed, you have a complaint to us. Let's arrest this person. When you arrest them, these are the things that go through. Why have you arrested me? Why are you saying I should follow you? Because your behavior otherwise would have led to a crash, and somebody would have died, and somebody would have been injured.
So who is the witness? Who is the witness?
Of what?
The policeman and myself. Who is the third party? Or is everything the policeman says is the truth? Let
us also know this one. Yeah. We all know how evidence are gathered. However, on the road, some of the offenses are strict liability. Let's all motorists understand, vehicle owners, that most of the incidents that happen on the road are strict liability. If, for example, your roadworthy is expired, do we need to go and do elaborate?
Okay.
Do you need a collaboration?
Two quick ones and then we have to.
For example, if you are drunk, we gather evidence anyway.
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
Now, I know that in the strict sense or the loose sense of the word, the police are supposed to have a certain relationship. Police, civil or public relationship. And so in some circumstances or in all circumstances, you have to tamper that relationship with some form of mercy.
That's
or
what we
whatever
do.
it is.
That's why we give warning letters to a lot of offended.
So let's say in instances where the offender may be a public person, but is also known to the police personnel or person stopping or questioning. In that instance,
in the case of SHATTA.
Okay, so no, well, not necessarily.
Is that what you mean, like an identifier?
Yeah, so I'm trying to create a certain scenario, like, because he'll keep saying that he doesn't know the content of the video and all that.
So somebody who's known.
So in that
either
instance,
in politics or that kind
whether the person is an entertainer, is a church leader, or is a clergy, etc. What do you do in that instance? When you know the person, you can identify the person, you can even identify the location of the person, etc.
Even a person can be forthcoming later is very important. But when it is occurring, police shouldn't be so partial. Okay, when it is so a behavior is occurring, otherwise could have led to maybe a crash. Your responsibility is to protect that person's life, irrespective of his background.
Okay.
You need to protect the person, and these are some of the things that the state wants you, the police officer, to do in order to enhance the safety.
Okay.
And therefore, it doesn't matter the person. What is it that you have to do to protect him or her? What is it that you have to do to protect the public health of others, collateral damage? So therefore, the issue of that I'm this and this, you are not exempted.
Okay.
Let us know that exemptions are limited in the road law. It has to do with speeding and even those vehicles that are and who are supposed to use it, among others. With regard to behaviors that could lead to crashes, there are no exemptions.
Okay.
And therefore,
the last one.
And that's why every country, that's why every country wants to come out with what do you call this, paperless traffic enforcement system. When you use spot fine, so that when you run the red light, the ticket will follow you.
Yeah.
In your home.
We've been dreaming about it for such a long time, and I wonder when that will come. But the last thing is the checkpoints. Sometimes you're stopped, and this happened to me. This has happened to me twice.
Traffic duty point.
No. I mean, it's. I understand the kind of situation that we're in. That you can. There are a lot of checkpoints that is mounted. That's fair. I can stay in the traffic, but when you get to the officer, and he's not dealing with you, he's chatting, and you're just there. Then you're wondering, is it part of it?
And then the video too. Is it? You know, the person I'm told, or there were people who are suspected to have taken the video. Can the police just go and arrest or accost the person and say that you've been detained, etc.?
The police officer who idles.
If you stop me,
police officer who idles
9 p.m.
is a dangerous officer. A police officer who idles on the job, sit on the job, chat, gossip. It is contrary to our basic conduct and principle. So we don't expect police officers to idle on the job, particularly at public places, and be dispatch, attend by delivering these policing services to anybody that comes across.
So what can I do? And I even said nice, not even nice, like 10:30 at the ACP police check. So so if it happens this evening, what should I tell the officer? Officer, please, can you finish checking me so that I can go?
I think it is right to do that. You know, but I always let us also know that when we are engaging ourselves, we have to couch our
language
in a civil manner.
Police.
It's very important. However, I think that it is contrary to our conduct that a police officer who is supposed to attend to a motorist or any resident or somebody that you think you have stopped, and then you'll be chatting somewhere, and you'll be that is idle.
And I'm just waiting.
Again, regarding evidence gathering, I think police have said it over and over again that when certain things are going on and it is something that you think it is of evidential value to the general public, you capture it at public places, and we've given a line already, and the line is 020-663-9121 in the form of video or still picture, and police will act on. In other words, you become anonymous complainant, isn't it? But if you just take a picture and throw it into
social media,
that's an offense.
No, I'm not saying that. In that, how are you helping?
No, but is it an
Why?
offense?
Because viral, you will see it.
Viral.
So I believe I'm entreating you. We are building a nation.
Okay.
Police rely on information.
Okay.
We are not saying we cannot gather it from there, but the point is that let all Ghanaians also be aware of these lines. 191 for all network, 18555 for MTN and Vodafone are free lines that you can call, no credit taken from it. And then 020-663-9121 can give us
the pictures and the videos
on a WhatsApp, and police will act on it accordingly. Let us do that, and that is what will help us. Don't let us be so much enticed by social media. I think that everything can be thrown there. I hope you understand. Because we're also looking at the issue of people's dignity and other things. There are certain things that have to be channeled to appropriate state agencies, and that is also a way of sensitizing and building a country that respects the dignity as guaranteed in our 1992 Republican Constitution.
We're so grateful, DSP Alexander Kweku Obeng, for being here and for talking to us and educating us essentially on the basic road traffic regulations. We're grateful for your time. Coming up next, you won't believe it, but last Saturday there was a major cleanup exercise in Accra and other parts of the country, an exercise towards fulfilling the president's vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. But what was discovered in some major gutters could only be handled by the fire service. So one of our news editors, Fred Smith, has this report. We will come back. Thankfully, we're joined by the sanitation minister and a man who's been advocating a lot in the capital and elsewhere, Kofi. So the minister, Kofi Ada, is here, and Kojo Lumo will also join us for this conversation. Stay with us.